I clean my in-laws' house every weekend because my husband said they did so much for me. It's the least we can do. One day, I found a list on their fridge titled Everything She's Doing Wrong. My name was at the top. Talks too much. Doesn't iron bedsheets. No class. My husband laughed and said, "Just let it go. It's their humor." I didn't say a word. But 6 months later, when they applied for a loan in my name, I reported them before they could blink. The look on their faces when the police showed up? Priceless. I was 26 when I married Nate. He was 31. We met in Dayton, Ohio, and things moved fast. He made me feel safe at a time when I really needed that. My dad had just died from a heart attack. I was alone in a new city, working double shifts at a diner, and Nate was like a calm voice in the storm. Steady. Reliable. That's what I thought back then. He grew up here. His parents were born and bred Ohio folks. Very religious, very traditional. His mom wore pearls to the grocery store. His dad still read the paper with his coffee every morning like it was 1955. From day one, I knew they didn't like me. I wasn't from their world. I didn't talk right. Didn't dress like they wanted. Didn't come from a two-parent, God-fearing home. I still tried. Every Saturday, I'd drive to their house and clean. Not just a quick once-over. I'm talking deep cleaning. I scrubbed toilets, cleaned ceiling fans, polished furniture, even cleaned out the fridge. Sometimes I did their laundry, folded his dad's underwear, ironed his mom's curtains. Every Saturday. For free. They never said thank you. Not once. Nate's mom would inspect everything like I was a maid. "Why is the silverware tray still sticky? Did you forget to clean the filter in the vacuum? You used the wrong mop." The worst part? She would say it like I wasn't even there. She'd look at Nate and say, "She didn't use the lemon oil again. It's going to ruin the finish." Why doesn't she listen? Like I was deaf. Like I was invisible. Nate just shrugged. "That's just how she is. Don't let it get to you." He said that a lot. That's just how she is. I told myself it was temporary, that they'd come around, that it was worth it for Nate, for the marriage. I didn't have family of my own anymore. I thought maybe, just maybe, I could earn a spot in theirs. Then one Saturday, I found the list. I was wiping down their fridge and moved a magnet to clean behind it. The paper underneath looked like a grocery list, but I could see my name at the top. My full name, middle name too. I pulled it out. It was titled, Everything She's Doing Wrong. My hands shook as I read it. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't meant to be funny. It was mean. Cold. Detailed. Talks too much, laughs like a barmaid, doesn't iron bedsheets. Who does that? Wears cheap shoes, probably doesn't tithe, only married Nate for security, trashy background, southern drawl, makes her sound stupid, lazy. Just lazy. Too mouthy. No respect for authority. I stood there, holding that paper, feeling like the air had been punched out of me. I read it again, just to be sure. I couldn't believe someone had written it down. I couldn't believe they'd kept it on the fridge like a damn shopping list. Nate walked into the kitchen and saw me holding it. I didn't even say anything. I just handed it to him. He read it, smirked. Then he laughed. Said, "That's just their humor. Just let it go. You know how they are." I stared at him. That's the moment something shifted inside me. I realized I was on my own in this marriage. He wasn't going to defend me. Not now. Not ever. He would always choose them. So I didn't argue. Didn't scream. I nodded, folded the list, slid it into my purse. Then I cleaned their kitchen. Like nothing happened. But inside, I made a decision. I wouldn't say a word. Not now. But I'd remember. The thing is, I never would have found out about the loan if they hadn't been so careless. It was around Christmas. Nate and I had been fighting more by then. He was stressed, or so he said. But really, I think he was just tired of pretending to care. I had stopped cleaning his parents' house by then. I told him I needed a break. He didn't push back. He barely noticed. That told me everything. One afternoon, I got a letter in the mail from a credit union I didn't recognize. It was addressed to me, my full name, saying they were reviewing my auto loan application and needed more info. I hadn't applied for a loan. I froze. I thought maybe it was a scam. But the letter had all my real info: name, address, birthday, even the last 4 digits of my social security number. I called the number. No, it wasn't a scam. It was real. Yes, Mrs. Blake, the woman said on the phone. This is about the joint application you submitted with Alan and Margaret Blake? That's my in-laws. I didn't even respond at first. I just sat there on the floor, phone pressed to my ear, heart racing. They'd used my name, my credit, without asking, without even telling me. I got off the phone. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I took a deep breath, opened a new tab on my laptop, and pulled my credit report. They'd tried this twice, both within the last 30 days. One of the applications had already been approved. I wasn't just angry. I was done. I didn't go to Nate. Not at first. I needed to be sure he wasn't in on it. I didn't think he was. He was dumb, not bold, but I needed proof. So I waited. I watched. A week later, he mentioned casually that his dad had finally gotten the truck fixed. He said it like it was a miracle. That was the truck they'd been whining about for months. Some old Ford that was always breaking down. His dad had said fixing it would cost almost $4,000. I'd heard him rant about it at Thanksgiving. Can't get to church, can't get to work, can't get to the damn store, he'd said. And I ain't got that kind of money lying around. But now it was fixed. I asked Nate how they paid for it. Oh, I don't know, he shrugged. Probably used their savings. Yeah. My name was their savings. I went quiet for a couple more days. I copied every piece of mail, took screenshots of the credit pulls, called the bank again to get a paper trail. I even recorded one phone call where the loan rep confirmed I was on the loan with Margaret and Alan Blake. Then I made one last call to the police. They took it seriously right away. Identity theft is no joke. I had documents, proof, recordings, you name it. The officer told me they'd follow up soon. Within 2 weeks, they did more than follow up. They showed up at my in-laws' house. Nate and I were eating dinner when he got the call from his mom. He turned white. What's going on? I asked, real calm. He held the phone out to me, like it was on fire. They said the police are at the house asking about a fraud report. Did you call someone? I met his eyes and said, yeah, I did. He stared at me. Why the hell would you do that? Because they used my name, stole my credit. That's illegal. They didn't mean to, he shouted. They thought you wouldn't mind. I almost laughed. They didn't mean to? You think applying for 2 separate loans in my name was an accident? He didn't answer. Then his phone rang again. His dad this time. Nate answered, and I could hear the shouting from across the room. His dad's voice was loud and panicked. What did she do? What the hell did she do? I just sat there, arms crossed. He hung up and glared at me. You just ruined everything. No, I said. They ruined it. I just turned the lights on. Things got messy fast. The cops didn't arrest them that night, but they left with files and statements. I didn't know this until later, but my in-laws had tried to smooth it over by claiming it was a misunderstanding. Said they thought I gave verbal permission. Said we were one big family and that I always helped them with financial stuff. Which was a lie. I never touched their bills. Never co-signed anything. Never once said they could use my credit. They were digging their own grave. And didn't even realize it. That weekend, Nate packed a bag and went to stay with them. He didn't say goodbye. Didn't even take the dog. I watched from the porch as he pulled out of the driveway like a coward. I thought maybe he'd cool off and come back. Maybe even apologize. Instead, 2 days later, I got served. His parents were trying to sue me for emotional distress. They said I maliciously called the police to ruin their reputation in the church and community. That I knew it was just a family issue and escalated it out of spite. I couldn't believe it. I sat there holding the court papers in my hand, stunned. It was like they were trying to twist the whole thing around. Make me the villain. That's when I knew they weren't just toxic. They were dangerous. I called a lawyer that same day. Took my file of evidence, emails, screenshots, recordings, credit reports, and put it all in her hands. She took one look at it and said, "They're in deep. And now they've made it worse." Turns out, suing someone while under active investigation for identity theft? Not smart. Especially when they lied on their loan documents and said, "I was present for the signing," which I wasn't. That added fraudulent misrepresentation to their list of charges. It kept getting better. I found out their shiny new truck, the one they fixed up with my loan, they used it to go on a church retreat out in Indiana. They crashed it. Totaled the damn thing. And the insurance company? They wouldn't cover it because the loan was under my name and I wasn't on the policy, which meant the loan defaulted. I wasn't responsible, thanks to the fraud report, but the bank sure as hell came after them. That's when the real panic set in. They started calling. First it was Margaret, sobbing on voicemail. "I don't know what happened. We didn't mean it to go this far. Please just talk to us." Then Alan, "You need to fix this. You're blowing this out of proportion. We're family." Even Nate called, sounding like a shell of himself. "They're scared. They might lose the house." I said nothing, but I started preparing for the next part of my plan. They weren't the only ones who could dig. A week later, I showed up to their church. Sunday morning. Full house. People I'd known for years. People who looked at me like I was lucky to have married up. People who whispered when I walked in. I sat in the back. Quiet. Patient. When the pastor opened the floor for prayer requests, I stood up. "My name is Rachel Blake," I said. "Some of you know me. Some of you have heard stories. I'd like to ask for prayers for healing, because it's hard when your own in-laws steal your identity, lie about it, sue you, and then blame you for the fallout." Silence. I smiled. "I just hope God forgives them. Because I'm not there yet." Then I walked out. After that Sunday, the masks fell off. Margaret called me the next morning, voice trembling. Not fake tears this time, real fear. The church board had called an emergency meeting. Rumors were flying. Someone had passed around a copy of the police report. Not me, but I have friends. Nate came home that night, quiet for the first time in weeks. He looked older. Tired. "You made your point," he said. "No," I said. "Not yet." He stood there in the doorway, holding his keys. "What happened to you?" I looked him dead in the eyes. "You did." 2 months later, the court ruled in my favor. Their lawsuit? Dismissed with prejudice. The fraud case? Moving forward. The DA took one look at the paper trail and charged both of them, Margaret and Alan, with identity theft, fraud, and forgery. They tried to plead out. Offered to pay everything back, drop everything if I'd just retract the report. I said no. Nate begged me to reconsider. Said it would destroy them. That they were old. That jail would kill them. I told him they should have thought about that before they stole from me. Before they laughed at me. Before they wrote that list. I filed for divorce. He didn't fight it. Didn't even try. Just signed the papers, handed over the keys, and left. I kept the house. The dog. My name. They were sentenced to 6 months in county jail. Small-town Ohio doesn't go easy when you mess with bank documents. But that's not where it ended. Their church dropped them from every committee. The pastor stepped down quietly after emails surfaced showing he'd known about the fraud and said nothing. Their house? Foreclosed. Turns out the bank wanted the rest of the loan money back. Fast. Nate moved out of state last I heard. Alone. No job, no family. He sends the occasional email. I don't answer. Sometimes, I still clean on Saturdays. Habit, I guess. But now, it's just my home. My mess. And when I open my fridge and see a list, it's the grocery kind. Just how I like it.